Hi guys, welcome to another tutorial. In the last video I showed you how to make your bomber jacket pattern. In this video I am going to show you how to put your jacket together and also how to line it and every other thing you need to know. In the last video I forgot to mention that I added half-inch seam allowance at the shoulder part at the front and also at the back. I added half-inch seam allowance so as to join the shoulders together. Now I will place my front fabric to my back fabric, good sides together, and I would also do the same for the other side of the front, and I would go on and stitch and join the shoulders together by half-inch. Now I would also go on and do the same thing for my lining. Place the front lining on the back lining and join the shoulders also by half-inch. Now as you can see, I am done joining the shoulders of the front to the back. Next thing I'm going to do right now is to join the sleeve to my jacket. Now, when joining the sleeve, you need to know that this part with the deeper curve stays at the front and this part with the shallow curve stays at the back. Now, I am just going to go on and fold my sleeve over, place my sleeve on fold like this, and I'm going to notch the center part. Now, this notched part, this place I just notched, this center part is going to stay at the joining of the shoulder. Now I'm just going to go on and place it like this, and I'm going to pin all the way to the end. Now once I am done pinning, I'll go on and make my stitches from one end to the other end of the sleeve, and I would also do very much the same thing for my other sleeve. And also don't forget to also do the same with your lining. Join your sleeve to your jacket lining. Now as you can see, I am done attaching my sleeves. Now next thing I am going to do right now is I'm going to place the good sides of my front fabric to the good sides of the back, and I am going to join the side seam allowances. Now I am going to join my side seam allowance from my side to my sleeve. Now I'm going to sew my side seam allowance all the way to my sleeve, and I'm also going to do the same thing to this other side. Just stitch all the way down. Now I am also going to do the same thing to my lining. I will go on and make my stitches all the way to the sleeve, and I am also going to do the same for the other side of my sleeve. But while stitching this other side, I am going to leave a little bit of allowance at the sleeve part. As you can see, I am done making my stitches and I left a little bit of space around the sleeve part. You're going to see why I left this much later. Next thing I will do right now is to place in my pockets. Before placing in my pockets, I'll first of all mark off my zipper seam allowance, which I placed while drafting my pattern, which is 1.5 inches. Now I'll place this zip allowance on fold. Now I am going to take this fold to meet my side so as to get the middle point. Now I will place my finger right here at the center, and I will chalk that part. Now I will take 15 inches from my shoulder. Now if you have watched how to make the video on how to make a welt pocket, you would understand better on how to place your pockets. Now 5 inches or 5.5 is usually used for placing your welt pockets. Now I will take 2.5 inches from this middle line and also 2.5 inches. which is going to give me 5 in total. Now I would connect that line like this, and this is going to serve as where my pocket is going to sit. Now, as you can see, I have ironed interfacing on my fabric, and the width of this fabric is 7.5 inches, and also the length is 2 inches. Now what I'm going to do right now is I'll fold about 1/2 inch, and I'm going to go on and make my stitches on it so as to hold this down. Now, as you can see, I have done my stitches on both fabrics, and this right here is going to serve as my pocket bag, and the length of this fabric is 18 inches and the width is 7.5 inches. Now I am going to go on and place this like this, and I'm going to retrace that mark. Now I'll go on and make my stitches from one end to the other end. Now once done, I will bring in my pocket bag, and I would also place it on that line. Now I am also going to retrace this line at both sides. Now I will mark 0.3 inch like this all the way to meet this line. Now I will go on and make my stitch from this point to this point. Now, as you can see, I am done making my stitch. Now if you look closely, you would see that this stitch stops exactly where this stitch stops, and that is the most important thing. Your stitches has to align and it has to be the same. Now I will place this on fold so as to nip my fabric. Now next thing I'm going to do right now is to make a guideline of how I am going to cut this out. If you want a detailed video on how to make your welt pocket, please do check the description box below for the video on how to make this. Now I will just cut and get to the 1/2 inch and make my triangle shape and stop exactly where my stitches stop. And I would also do the same for this other side. Cut and stop at 1/2 inch and make your triangle shape and stop exactly where your stitches stop. Now I will just flip in my pocket bag inside. Now I would pull this pocket bag over like this, and I am going to go on and hold this triangle thing and sew, and I'm going to do the same for this other part. Now as you can see, I am done making that stitch. Now I am going to place my pocket bag over and join this part together, and I'm going to go on and join the pocket bag sides opening and close it up, and now our pocket is ready. Now for the neckband, I am just going to go in and fold this over, and I am just going to go on and make the tip a little bit more slanted like this. Now once I am done doing this, I am going to, at the neckline of my fabric, I am going to mark off my 1.5 inches for my zipper allowance at both ends, as you can see. Now I am going to place this like this. I'm going to place my band like this on from that 1.5 zipper allowance that I just marked, and I am going to place it and I am going to stitch. Now as you can see, I am done stitching. As you can see, I just placed it and I just stitched, and this is what the finished look is looking like, and this is the back. Now for the band, this band is the one that stays at the bottom of your jacket. Now I figured the length of my fabric is too much, and I am just going to go on and use the shorter parts, and In total, you should have about 6 inches. You should have about 6 inches. Now I'll place this over like this and so, and I'll place this over like this and so. And next thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to cut off the excess of my fabric. So now I'll just join my fabric to my band. Now I would attach my band to my jacket, to the bottom of my jacket, and I'll start sewing. And once I get to where my band starts, I'll start stretching, and I'll keep sewing, and I'll keep stretching until I get to the end of my jacket. Now I will take this to the sewing machine and show you how to do this. Now as you can see, I am going to sew, and once I get to where my band starts, I will change my tension to tight. Make sure that you change your tension to tighter stitch because you're going to be stretching your band, so you need your stitches to be very tight. As you can see, stretch your band and sew, stretch and sew, stretch and sew until you get to the end of the band. Now this is what your jacket should look like once you're done stitching. Now here is my wristband. I will place it over like this and I would sew. And you also need to make sure that your wristband stretches. Now after sewing, I would also go on and do the same for this other one. Now as you can see, I am done stitching and I'll place the edges together like this. As you can see, it stretches. Now on my sleeve, on the joining of my sleeve, I would also place the joining of that wristband right there and I would pin. Now make sure you stretch your wristband and pin. Stretch your wristband and pin. And I will do this all around my band, and I would go on and sew, and I would also do the same for the other one. Now at the bottom of my jacket, I'll place that band on fold and I'll place a notch on that fold right there. Now I'll also chalk that notch. Now next thing I'm going to do right now is I'm going to mark my zipper seam allowance, which is 1.5 inches, and I'll place that 1.5 inches right there. What we're trying to do here is to fix our zipper. Now I'll place my zip on that 1.5 inch mark and I will start pinning. It doesn't matter if your zip stops at this line. It doesn't really matter. Just like mine didn't stop at the line. My zipper is quite short. Now I would also place this other part on fold and notch, and I would also make sure that this line matches. Just make sure that that line matches where your jacket ends to where your band meets, and I will start pinning also. And once I am done pinning, I will go on and make my stitches and sew my zipper to my jacket. And now as you can see, I am done sewing. Now place your lining to your fabric good sides together, and we're going to be joining the necklines and we're going to pin. Make sure that the shoulders of your lining match the shoulder of your fabric, and I am going to pin all the way to the other end, and once I am done pinning, I will stitch from one end to the other end. Now at the bottom of our jacket, we're going to be joining our lining to the jacket, and we're just going to place this and sew just like we did while joining the band to the fabric. Just make sure, remember to stretch your band as you stitch. This is what it should look like once you're done attaching your lining to your band. Now, as you can see, I have marked my zipper seam allowance on my lining. From my lining to my band, I am going to stitch all the way to the bottom, and I am also going to do the same for this other side. I will stitch all the way. Now you need to avoid your zipper teeth as you stitch. Make sure you put your hand right there and stitch so as to guide you on where to stitch. Now, as you can see, I am done making my stitches. Next thing I'm going to do right now is to attach my sleeve to my sleeve lining. Now make sure that your fabric is straight, and also make sure that your lining is straight. Match up, make sure that the side seams match, and start pinning like this. Place it like this and start pinning. Also, don't forget to stretch your band as you pin. As you can see, stretch your band and pin your lining to it. Now, once I am done pinning, I would go on my sewing machine and make my stitches all the way around it. And also make sure that you do the same for the other side of your sleeve. And make sure that your sleeves are straight. If not, it is going to come out looking wrong and rumpled. Now for this bottom part, I'm going to place this band inside like this, and I'm going to make sure that the edges touch, and I'm going to pin. Place in the band inside and make sure that the edges touch. The edge of your fabric to the edge of your lining, make sure that the edges touch. And once I am done pinning, I am going to stitch from one end to the other end. And this is what the finished look of the bottom part should look like. And now from this part that I left out, that I didn't stitch, I'm going to use it to turn out everything. And now once you're done turning it out, at this point you can go on and close up this opening. You can fold it in and hand sew or sew it with a sewing machine. And here is the finished look, guys, and I will just go on and put this on and show you what it looks like. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and please do subscribe to my channel. Let's grow this channel together, and hope to see you in much more exciting videos like this. See ya. A messy mind. Think I need to help you. I'm gonna try.